तो सर आपका माइक वहाँ का डिस्कशन वाला सुना आपका। तो सर आपका माइक
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I welcome to you all participants and all the faculty members for the second day of 3 days online workshop on ICT tools for online teaching and learning. Our instructor sir Professor Deepti P ma'am from GHRCE College of Engineering already joined with us, and shortly ma'am will start with her lecture. Now we are Now we are going to start our lecture. It is already 11 a.m. Now I hand over the session to Deepti ma'am, and you can continue from here. I request all the participants to please keep your mic audio off, keep your mic mute, and keep your video off. Ma'am, you can start the session.
तो सर इकडे आवाज येत नाही आहे. तो सर इकडे आवाज येत नाही आहे.
Yes, sir. We will start shortly. Madam is joining. So yesterday we have, Madam has taught about Google Classroom. So Madam has shown the various features of Google Classroom. Tomorrow Madam will continue with some new tools on ICT. that are required for our online teaching and learning purpose. We will go to class shortly. Yes, ma'am, you are audible. You can start with your lecture.
Sir, what is the problem? Not audible. Yudhkar sir.
Yes, sir. Ma'am is preparing. She will. Ma'am, are you ready?
Yes, I'm starting this recording with the option.
Yudhkar sir.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, unmute yourself on link mode.
Is it now audible?
Yes, now audible.
I hope this presentation, all of you have seen the presentation mode. So good morning all the participants on the second session for the workshop on ICT tools for online teaching and learning. So in the last class we have explored about Google Classroom. Please, actually it is disturbing for me that my voice is echoing 3 to 4 times. Can you check that all the screens are in mute?
यूट्यूब पर लगा सकते
So in the last session we have explored about the Google Classroom. If you have any doubts related to this Google Classroom, you can write the chat box and the organizer can complete with the questions from the participants. So in today's class we are going to explore about the Google Form. Before that, I'd like to tell you one more platform which is available for virtual classroom. So this is an interactive classroom. So this classroom will explore about
ऑनलाइन चैटिंग
virtual implementation of Google Classroom. In this particular Google Classroom, we had solved the restrictions if it is not an educational institution account. Very few are limited. Second is this EdModo, okay? This is EdModo. This is again a virtual interactive classroom. This is exactly as similar as Google Classroom. It has provided more options for creating the class, creating the group of peoples to share the material, to find the resources and all. Okay? So if we get a time after completing this popular other ICT tools like Google Form, presentations and Zoom and WebEx, we will be going to explore. So just remind me at the last session of tomorrow, I will explore this also. So today we will start with the Google Form. So Google Form is one of the most useful nowadays in educational technologies. Earlier we have used Google Forms with very limited purpose. Okay, like we might have received it only for some registration. Right, that is very rare. Okay? But nowadays we are exploring this Google Forms for various purposes. Whether the registration form, creating a registration form, whether it's taking the quizzes, online quizzes, it is taking for the online examinations also. So because the Google Form has an options to ask questions of various types. Okay, not only MCQ based, you can ask the question of short answer. Okay? So this these facilities of various types of the questions has made it possible to even conduct an online examinations by using the Google Forms. There are various security options and the privacy options provided in the Google Form that we will also explore. So we can use it to collect any type of the data, even like say if you want to collect the data about the participation of the students in various activities. So if you like to collect data of some academic purpose data from the teachers, from the faculties, so that can be collected by using the Google Form, right? So we can even create a surveys and the questions with different types of the question formats. We can also include pictures, videos, and prepare several comprehension questions based on it, right? So few of the subjects that required to provide pictures as in or some informations related to this particular data, right? So this will facilitates you to include images in the questions. So if you want to give a reference of some diagram, if you want to give reference of some videos, that is even possible to embed in the question. So this the Google form are integrated with the Google spreadsheet. That means whatever response you will be getting, that responses are available in the Google spreadsheet that we call it as an Excel format, right? And that will be very easy for the manipulations, for the analysis of the result, okay, for the presentation of the result. That is a very good facility of the Google form. That means you will have to manually collect the responses and copy paste the responses to analyze it. But before it will get connected to the Google Excel, that is a Google spreadsheet. And forms are mobile friendly, when that means it is not required to whom you are sending these applications, to whom you are sending these Google forms, they must work on the laptops or the desktops. So this Google forms can also be accessed by using the mobile phones, right? So that is a very good option of the Google forms. That means you don't have to create it, you don't have to have some restrictions of the data machines. So these are the applications of the Google Forms generally. We create an online registration forms to prepare survey and questionnaires that is popularly used by researchers, to create quiz and to analyze data received from the responses. This is the first step how we initiate for creating Google Form. We have to visit the website, that is www.google.com/forms. So this is the website you need to visit, and once you visit this website, you will be asked to whether start a blank form, right, or use a default app, right. So in your login, if you click on this particular link, and if your Gmail is not logged in, then it will ask you to first log into the Gmail, right. So if you have a Gmail account, then you can log into the Gmail account. If you don't have Gmail account, then you will have to create a Gmail. Okay? But nowadays, I guess everyone has a Gmail account, so there won't be any problem, right? So ensure that before you click on this link, your Gmail account is logged in. Then it will ask you to go to the Google Forms. This is one sample form. So that this is the layout which is by default displayed. In this layout, we have two options. One is this section to start a new form. So this is a first option that you can select a blank form. If you want to create a registration form, then it is an event registration template. These are the default templates provided by Google. Or you can ask the contact information. You can create a blank quiz, or if you want to create a feedback form, then there is a template for feedback form, right? So this first section will provide you the list of options whether you want to use some of the default templates provided by the Google. These templates are not limited. If you click on this template gallery, this option, okay, so this options will provide you various templates. They are very good templates, and if you use these default templates, that will be less efforts required for creating the Google form, because most of the things, most of the fields are already created. In case of a blank form, if you don't want to use these templates, you can start creating a form from scratch, and in that case you will select blank. Yes, but what is not visible? It is not visible. Okay, I'll share the demonstration. We'll first complete this slide, then I'll share the another slide. Right, and the second section, this is the second section below of this. This section, it shows the list of Google forms you already have. Okay, so this can be the Google form that you have created, or this can be the Google forms which is shared with you. So this is, here is the list of all the Google forms which are available in your account. So So as per the options, we can click on the plus symbol and start with the blank quiz or select the templates. So as I talked about that various question formats are available in the Google Forms. So there are basic 11 types of the question formats. Whenever you will be asking the question, ensure that you are selecting the correct format, right? So first is the short answer question. Let's say, for example, if you want to ask someone about the address of the user, so in that case, you should provide a text box where your user will enter the address. So in that case, your choice should be a short answer question, right? Even name of the student or the name of the participant will go in the short answer question. Then paragraph, here it is a little bit elaborative or the long answer is expected. For example, if you want to ask a question where little explanation is required, explanation about or justification about the answer, then in that case you will select a paragraph. Here the length of the text which is to be entered by the user is large as compared to the short answer. Then multiple choice, the one answer among the different options will be true. Right? In case of multiple choice, only one option can be ticked. So ensure that if you want to provide a multiple choice question, then only one answer is correct. Because sometimes hurriedly what happen is that one question may have more than one correct choices. So in that case, multiple choice should be a wrong type of the question. Multiple choice question will be only said when amongst the set of answers, only one answer is correct. This is multiple choice. In case of the check boxes, many answers among the options are correct. That means the end user should be able to select more than one options for correct options for the given question. Then drop box is not visible. Is it now visible? Okay, earlier this slide was not visible. Actually, okay, can you see the types in the Google Form slide?
Yes, ma'am.
It is not visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Right. So if I'm changing the slide, is this visible to everyone?
No, now not
Okay,
change.
good.
Change ma'am. Click on plus icon.
Can you see this next slide? Slide number 29 is visible to everyone?
No ma'am. Yes ma'am, visible.
Yes.
No, ma'am. 27 only visible, ma'am. 27 visible.
Okay, organizer, can you tell me that on all the screen, can you see the change of slide if I'm clicking the next slide? Okay. That means you cannot see my presentation view.
Yes.
Only
You
the
were
slides
restricted
are
to one slide only from the beginning.
Now 29th slide is visible, ma'am. Slide.
Wait for 1 minute. Which change the format of this. Okay, now everyone can see all the links.
Yes, ma'am. Screen is visible.
Link number 2. Not
So everyone can now see the change of slide.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Ma'am, share the slide on link number 2. Link number 2 is not presenting.
Link number 2.
Yeah. Yes. Ma'am, link 1 and link 2 are not presenting the screen. Link 3 and link 4 are presenting. Ma'am, maybe you left from link number 1 and 2. Yes, ma'am, but from my side, you are not in link number 1 and 2. Yeah.
Is it now okay? So can you check all the screens? Yes? Alright. So change of slide is also there. Okay, good. So sorry for the inconvenience. So that is the restriction of digital platforms using. So we were about creating a form and the types of questions. So I have just elaborated about the first 4 types of the questions. So we have talked about short answer questions, paragraph questions, then multiple choice questions and checkboxes. Then let's say you have fixed see when to use checkbox and when to use drop down. So in case of a checkbox, here if you want to have the answers which is a little bit long, or I can say in a sentence format, then you should use a checkbox. In drop down, if it is a single word, like say if you want to ask the students what is your section. So section is a single word like A, B, C, right? If you want to ask about the gender of the user, so it's a single word that is male and female. So in that case, you can use a drop down. Even here the examples. All the links are and unmute. Okay, so as I told you, the Dropbox will be used when we have a single word option. Like month is there, so in month we have a single word, January, February, March and so on. Here it is also a single words or single number, that is 2021, 2020, 2019 and so on. Or a program. Program means let's say about we want to ask the branch of the students. So whether it belongs to or you want to ask about the specialization of the students. Let's say whether it's a mathematics, whether it's arts, whether it's a commerce or science. So likewise, these programs are there in the options, so that can be used as a drop-down option. File upload. Say if your question is about typing some programs, or is it related to draw some diagrams. So you ask user to draw a diagram, you ask students to draw a diagram, then in that case the type of the question will be file upload. So in file upload there are many options provided. Number one is in the file upload you should select the type of the file. So if you don't want to give any restriction, then keep that blank. Otherwise you can ask the users only to upload the Word file, or your question can only accept the image file, or you can set that question will only accept the PDF file. So that file upload option will be with a choice of organizer or the who is owner of the form will set that what kind of the file they will be going to accept. Second is the size of the file. Because of, let's say, when you are collecting about the images of the users or the photos from the users. So photos nowadays will have a very, very large size. And now when you are collecting the data, your folder of that particular responses will be of very large size and you cannot handle it. So that is to keep a restriction of the user should upload the photo on this site. So in this file upload option, that size option will also be there. Then next is the format. So what kind of format you want to provide it. So these options are available under this file upload. Then linear scale. This is most popular in researchers who are setting the questions. So in this case, linear scale, you can view a satisfaction rating from 1 to 5. It can be in the form for numbers, and there you have to also say that what one is representing as an I or phi is representing as an because it depends upon the type of the questions we are asking. Yes. Okay, so it depends upon the type of questions that we are asking to the users. That is whether we want to accept the response in the form of numbers, that is satisfied, very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, and so on. So this linear scale is being used for that purpose. So if anyone is in the research related field or performing some surveys or the questionnaires, they are very much familiar about that Likert scale, and you can set up the Likert scale as it is by using this linear scale option in the Google form. So in that linear scale, you can have the multiple options of creating the grid of the question. In the grid of the question, you can set up multiple sub questions, and then that multiple sub questions can appear as a single question. That is, the next is a multiple choice grid, as I talked about just now. So it is a matrix form with one answer in each row. Okay, so this will create like this. So here we have the question 1, question 2, okay, and so on. And in front of this, for every question in a row, we have the options, option 1, 2, 3, 4, option 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are what? These are the support. Grid will be acting as the one whole question, right? So that is called as a multiple choice grid. That is a requirement of few of the questions that we will discuss. Then checkbox grid. Similarly, as a grid of this linear scale, we can have the checkbox grid. So it is a matrix form again with multiple answers in each row. Then date. If whenever you want to ask a question related to date, that is enter the date of birth, enter the date of joining, then in that case you should use the question format as date, so that user don't have to use a different format. Because what happens if you use a short answer question for entering the date, or if you ask a user to enter the date of birth in the and the type of the question you select as a short answer, then everyone will enter the date in the different format. Some will enter the date format as date, month, and year. Someone will use number like first, second, third, fourth, or some users may respond to the date of birth in the form of January, February, March. So when you are going to do an analysis of such a responses, that will be difficult because every response will get in the different format, right? So if you want to stick to the format, like how should be the date entered, whether it's a month, then date and the year format, or whether it's a date, month, and the year format, then you should use this date format, so that it will restrict all the users to enter this date in the same format. And the last is the time, so it can fill out the time or the duration, right? So next is this formats. Let me check whether all the users can listen to me properly. So this is okay. It's okay. From my side, all the links are unmute. So Please, if you can shift them to another view, that will be okay. Right. So these are the different options that you can have to create a Google form. You can create a single Google form with a single section. This is popular for registration form. In the registration form, you will have a single section that is on a complete page. You will have a single form available. Second is you can create this Google form with multiple sections. In multiple sections, let's say for example, you have a paper setting. In paper settings, you can have multiple sections, like section A, section B. So likewise, similarly, you can create the multiple sections. For example, again, if you want to conduct a test for the 2 units, right, and you want to differentiate the questions asked on based on unit number 1 and the unit number 2. So what you can do is, let's say your complete Google form is there, right? This complete Google form is then divided into the multiple sections. Like you can have the first section about the user information, where you can ask user to put the information. The next section on unit number 1, and this section on unit number 2. So when any user is attempting this Google form or attempting this quiz, they can see the different section. Section 1 is for the user information, section number 2 is for question based on unit number 1, and section 2 is based on the questions unit number 2. So likewise, you can divide the form into the multiple sections. You can create a quiz and you can have a various quiz setting. That is very important, because if you create a quiz and if you don't properly set the quiz settings, then that will end up in displaying the answers to all the users. And let's say if you are conducting an examination by using this Google form and you have not set the question setting format, then in that case, this particular quiz will, after submitting the responses, everyone can see the answer and share the answers to one who is not yet finished. Okay? So that is very important when you create the quiz in Google form to complete the quiz settings. The next is the customized format as per the requirement. So you can form customization. There are so many options available that we are going to explore. This is very important option that add collaborators in the form. As we have seen that we can add multiple teachers in the Google classroom. Similarly, if you are creating the Google form, you can add multiple collaborators. Collaborators means they have equal access as you have for creating the form. They can add the questions, they can edit the question, they can edit the format and everything, right? So they are, let's say, one of the owner of the form, right? So like if you are setting the question paper and you want to involve your colleague, or you want to involve the faculty who is also teaching the same subject, then you can add them as a collaborator. So both of you can edit the Google form at the same time from two different screens, right? And the last is you share the Google form options. So when you are complete with designing of the Google form, then in that case you can share this Google form in multiple ways. If you remember that how we have shared the Google Classroom link. So similarly, we have the options for sharing the Google form in the form of the code, in the form of the link, in the form of the form available in embedded in the mail, okay? And there are various options. So let's go to this Google form and we will see. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, yes. So you can create here the Google form. So once I click here, create Google form, it has given me untitled form because I have directly created a new Google form from my drive. Else you can go to this link. I won't tell you from initially. So then just select this link of the Google form. Yes. So once you click on this link, as I told you, there will be 2 sections available. First section is about start a new form. this is asking you to start a new form. So what kind of a form you want to start? Whether you want to start with a blank form, whether you want to create an information and all. And if you click on here a template gallery, so you can see there are so many options available. So event registration, contact information, find a time, RSVP, party invitation, then teacher sign up. Okay, let's say teacher sign up means you do conduct various events, because cultural events. In that cultural events, you want to give your own t-shirts or the brand of your t-shirts to create a brand of your event, right? So in that case, you want to have a t-shirt sign up where users can give their the sizes or the choices of the t-shirts and so on. Course evaluation, this is very important for the teachers whenever you want to evaluate the course, because in MBA, in the NAC, you want to have the evaluation of the course at the end of the completion of the course. You ask users to share this course evaluation form and collect responses from students how they find the course. Then worksheets, assessment, and executives. Okay, so these are the various options, right? So I'll select the blank quiz first. Right. So is it visible to everyone? So this is a blank quiz.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, ma'am. Right. So in this blank quiz right now, by default there is a untitled question is set. So first of all, let's say you ask user to enter. Before this, you should make this is all of you. This here in the left hand side corner, you can see here it is a blank quiz, and here it is also blank quiz. Whenever you give the name of this, you set the name of this blank quiz, same will be reflected to the quiz. So you can select here instead of blank quiz, this say quiz for ICT workshop. So you can check here, if I click here, this particular quiz for the ICT workshop name will appear over here. Okay, so this is quiz for ICT workshop. This is the name of my form. You want to add description, it is an optional one. Okay, few of these participants are not able to see my screen. Let me check this setting. Yes. Okay, is it visible to all the participants now? I guess it is now open to all the participants. Okay, so form description, it is an optional one. If you want to provide a user about an information of or the purpose of conducting this quiz, then you can add a description. So I can add, let's say this is a demo quiz. Okay. So you can add a description, or if you don't want, you cannot. It is not required, right? So then setting up the question. So in setting a question, I'll at first demonstrate you creating a single form, and then you will see creating a form with different sections. So create a form. First question, let's say you can enter that is a name, name of participant. So when you set a question, here you can see a list of all the types of the questions that we have just explained. Whether the name of the participant should go in the short answer question, should it be a paragraph, multiple choice, checkbox, drop-down box, or file upload option, or whether it's a linear scale, or whether it's a multiple choice grid or checkbox grid. Okay, multiple choice grid means this multiple choice question, there is a single question. If you want to create a grid of this, then go to this. Okay, when you have this checkboxes option, this will create a single checkbox option, and when you go to this, it will create a multiple checkbox grid. Then the last two is about the date and time option, right? So name of the participant should go to the short answer. So this will be same. Second important thing is that as it is a quiz, it will ask you the correct answer as well as to set the points. That is, if a participant answers this question correctly, how many points should be given for the correct answer. So right now, this particular question is about the information of the participant, and it is not a question actually, right? So we will not be going to set any answer key for this, or we will not going to set the points for attempting this particular question. However, it is required that every participant should enter the name while attempting the quiz, and hence we make it a mandatory, right? So initially this required is turned off, and you have to turn it on to make it compulsory, right? So just let's say without attempting this particular field or this particular question, the end user or the participant will not be able to he or she will not be able to submit this quiz, right? Okay, so this is mandatory that you should make it compulsory by enabling this button, right? So sometimes, let's say if you want to ask the first name, the last name, the middle name, right? So this type of the questions are similar. Let's say we have this like first name of the participant, right? Now I want to ask the last name of the participant. That means the question will be exactly similar. So what I can do is I will say duplicate. Here it is an option of duplicate. So when I click here, it has duplicated the same question. So instead of first, I want to ask the last name, right? I hope it is clear to everyone. This is the first question that we have created, which is a short answer question. So you can see here there is a red star mark displaying here, right, on this questions. This red star mark indicate that it is a compulsory. That means you cannot submit your response keeping it blank. You have to respond to this, and then only you will be able to submit. Then you will add the next question. You have to click on this plus symbol. It will say it is an add question. So the new question is being selected. So in the new question, if you want to ask a multiple choice question, that is, let's say this in say the classroom, you can add multiple teachers. Okay. So is it true or false? Suggestions are also being given. So you can select from the suggestions or you can add your own options. So I have selected whether it is true or false. So in Google Classroom, you can add multiple features, whether it is true or false. So the question type is multiple choice. That means only one choice will be accepted out of this multiple choices, and you want to make it again compulsory. Now this is not the information of the user, this is a type of the question. So I need to set the answer key. So you have to click on here. So it will first ask you to set the points. So how many points you want to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So I want to give 1 point for attempting this particular question if it is correct. Now 1 point is given to which answer? So you have to mark the answer also. So what is the answer of this? It is true. So this will be ticked, right? So right now you can see it is in this format because you have selected it as a correct answer, and the point is 1. So you can add answer feedback. Like say when you respond to this particular quiz and you want to give away or give back the correct answer to the users, then those correct answers to the users will be displayed with the description why it is true or why it is false. So it is not even compulsory. It is not mandatory to add it. You can add it if it is required, or you can keep it blank, right? So once you're done with this, you will have to click on done. So now this question is set, and you can see here on the top right corner total points. So how many total points are there? So we have set only one question with the 1 point, and hence the total point right now is 1. You can add another question. Okay, so we will try for the another question of type say checkbox. So in checkbox, as I told you, you can have the answers in the sentence format, right? You can have the answer in the sentence format. So if you ask, let's say, what is Google Classroom, right? So you can given options, like say it is an interactive virtual classroom, right? Another options you can add, let's say it is a physical classroom. Can add, say it is both A and B. So generally A and B is considered as it is A and B, or if you want to add it, so you can add A options, or option B, and add A is on C, and here you can add option D as and not this, right? So in this way you can set it. Again, for every question you will have to set whether it is a compulsory question or not. So you have to turn it on, required, that means it is mandatory. Then you will have to set the answer key for this and the points. So points is again 1. So 1 point will be given for attempting this question correctly, and you will have to set the correct options. So how many options are correct? So right now for this question only 1 option is correct. So you have to set it. If 2 options are correct, you will have set it multiple options. So only 1 option is correct, so you will set it and you will set that. So this is a checkbox filled. Then you can add new questions. Let's say, for example, if you want to have a file upload, right? So when you select this file upload question, it will ask you, let respondents upload file to the drive, and it will ask you the files will be uploaded to the form of owner's Google Drive, right? So that means whatever file will be uploaded by the users or the students, those files will be collected in the owner's drive. Okay, that means if I am creating this form, then all the responses or all the files which are submitted will be uploaded to my Google Drive, right? So respondents will be required to sign in to the Google, right? So as I told you that Google form, when you are collecting the responses, right? So if it is a registration of the workshop, or if it is giving some information or collecting some information from the users, in that case, you can set up that it is not mandatory users should log into the Gmail. Okay. Remember everyone that whenever you are responding to some form, like say if it is a form of registration of some workshop, then you can set up in the settings that users or respondents is not required to sign in. So that means you are not collecting the email addresses of the respondents. So in that case, the signing is not required. They can submit the Google form without signing the Gmail. But if you have a question, let's say uploading of a file, then in that case, it is mandatory for the respondent or the student to sign in into their Gmail account. Okay, to attend this quiz. So we will say continue. Once you say continue, it will set up the question. Yes, this is the question. So I can say upload answer file. Right, upload your answer files. So as I told you, when you ask users to upload the answer file, you can set up various options for this. That is what kind of file you will be accepting. Whether you are accepting the image file, whether you are accepting the doc file, or whether you want to accept the PDF file, or any format will be accepted. In some of the cases, let's say this question is very specific, that is upload your photograph. Okay. So in that case, it is compulsory that, or it is required that all the users should upload in the JPG format. So in that case, we will say allow only specific file format. Right now, by default, it is turned off. That means when I set this question, the users can upload file of any type. There is no restriction over it. But if you want to enable this restriction, then you have to turn it on. As soon as you turn it on, there are various options are available. You can see here, there are so many options given by the Google. That means you can upload a document, that is a doc file, Word file. You can upload a spreadsheet, that is an Excel file. You can upload a PDF file. You can upload a video file, an audio file, image, or you can upload a single drawing, or even you can upload a presentation. Let's say if you are collecting the presentations from the students. So if you have conducted a seminar for the students and you want to have every student to submit their presentation, then in that case you will set up this upload file and you will take this presentation. Right? Now, as I said that upload answer sheet file, then I want user can upload the answer sheet file in the Word format, or they can upload the answer sheet in PDF format. So both this format are now accepted. So you can upload the answer whether in the document format or in the PDF format. Sometimes it is not possible for the students to convert their document to the PDF. So for such a students, you can even add the document format. Now, maximum number of files to be uploaded. So sometimes what happens is students need to merge their multiple answers into the single document and they should upload the single file. Or you can ask users to upload two different files for the two different questions. So here the options are available. So up to maximum 5 files or maximum 10 files can be uploaded. So I said here only one file should be added. You know that you are accessing what you are accepting from the users. Okay. Whether you are accepting an image, single image, or the photo, whether you are accepting a document or the PDF file, which only have answer to one or the two questions. So if I am asking users or my students to upload the answer sheet, that is an answer sheet of two questions, or I have only asked them to elaborate or describe the two questions, then I know that the size of the file will not go more than 10 MB. The document file. Okay, so simple two questions are there. If it is about uploading a video of some competitions, then I know that the video will be of very large size. Then you need to provide an option of 1 GB, or even you can provide an option of 10 GB. But generally it will not go beyond 1 GB. For the normal forms, 10 MB is even sufficient. Okay, so that you can set up the different file sizes. So ensure that this maximum file size will restrict the users to have the files or the answer files to be created up to this size only. If you set this size, the owner of this form should ensure that whatever you are expecting in this answer will not go beyond this. If your answer for this particular question is beyond this 10 MB, then none of the user will be able to attain this question because of this size restriction. So ensure whenever you are putting such a restrictions, then ensure that the user can very easily upload their document within this size. Right? If the file size goes beyond this, they will not be able to submit it. So ensure that you will set up enough maximum size which is required for this. Then again you will have to answer this particular question whether it is required compulsory or not. If it is required compulsory, you will turn this on. You will have to mark the answer key points, like say if user is attempting this, you will set up point 1 or not. Otherwise what you can do here it is such a question should be judged manually, right? So you will not keep here any answer point because there is no fixed answer for this, right? You are asking user to upload an answer file. So here there is no fixed answer for this, and I need to download the file and I need to check the answer of the user manually. So for such a questions, you will not set up any answer key or you will not set up any points. So you will have to manually download the copy or answer copy of the students, and then you have to evaluate it. Okay. So that is limitations. The very important thing is this form can accept up to 1 GB file, that is a maximum, and that we have set a maximum size of 100 MB. And here it is an option of view folder. This view folder is a folder which is created in your Google Drive. Right? If I am setting this question, then this folder will be created in my Google Drive by the name of upload your answer file. This is a question name. So a folder will be created by this question name, and all the responses of this question, that means all the document files, all the PDF file which has been uploaded by my students or by the users for this questions will be available in this folder. So if we click on the folder, we will be redirected to the folder. You can see here. It will take 2 seconds to open it. So folder is open, right? So now you can log the Google. Let's say if you want to log this, you can log it. So now you can see here a folder has been created. Right? So right now it is blank because we have not shared form with anyone, and we have not asked anyone to submit the results. So you can check here. See, in my folder there is a default folder created by the name of Quiz for ICT Workshop 5 Responses. So this folder will have the collection of all the responses that are created for this quiz. Inside this folder, there is a question folder created by the name of Upload Your Answer File. This is a file response type of the question, and inside this folder, all the files will be collected. Right? So this way you can answer. Then a new type of question, you can have, let's say, date format. So in date format, so as I told you here, you can set up the date format. Let's say here by default it's a month, day and a year. So if you want to change it, you can change it. Like click here, you can set up the question. Let's say date of year or date of this quiz. Right. So you can set here the date of the quiz. It is required for the user to set up or to give the date on which they are getting this quiz. Because it was sample question which are created for the quiz. Then you can have a question which is a type of scale, linear scale question. In linear scale question, here the options are given. You can start given from the 0. It may be required for some type of the questions, and you can reach up to the maximum scale of 10. Okay, or you can set up as per your choice. So here in this case, you can say, let's say the question is, say, Google Classroom is user friendly. So how much you are satisfied with this Google Classroom UI, right? So you can give here the options 1 to 3, that is strong or strongly agree or not agree. So that depends upon the user. So you should very clearly specify over here. So you can say this not agree. Do this. Say strongly agree. Right? You can say set up this question. We will see how it looks like and when we see the complete form. So this is one of the questions in the linear scale. So right, so instead of economics clear here, you can show the description is required. Then you can add a next question, which is of say grid question. Now you can see here in the grid multiple choice grid. So it is a multiple choices that we need to provide you. So let's say attempt below questions. So you'll have to set up question 1. What is question number 1? Is say have you completed task 1? So you can set up the options as yes or no. Yes, and you need to add a column. See here. One response per column, so user cannot respond to this questions in the multiple formats, in the multiple answers. Set over here. So it's have 2 columns. So add 4. So when you want to add a row, second row will be this way you can set up the questions and you can say this required. Then next is you can add a question related with checkbox grid. So instead of this yes and no, right? Instead of this yes and the no option, you can have the choices only. Right? Say here the question is information. Right? Instead of information, you can ask say you can ask section of or you can ask is branch year of passing. So in columns you can add over here the options of the branch, this is CC or APC and so on. For the year of passing you can add here columns, that is 2020 or the next one. Okay. So likewise you will complete this form. So now what we are interested here. Okay, this is a complete form with only one single section. Right. So now we will discuss about the important settings of this Google form. So here, first of all, is you can add an image, the background image for this Google form. So you can say upload it from Google image search or from the Google Drive or from the photos sections if it is available under the photos, right? So let's say if you are selecting this insert. So this image will get added. So this image we will ask here to identify or select the options from the given image. So likewise you can add it. Second setting is that for submitting the responses, you can select here. Here the question is the entire form. The responses means what you are accepting the responses from the user. So this is very important because sometimes what happens is we have collected the responses from hundreds of participants and we don't know where those responses are gone. Okay. So what you can do is you can click here, create spreadsheet directly, or you can create here 3 dots. If you click here on the three dots, you will have multiple options available, right? So you can download the responses directly from here in the form of the .cc file. You can get email notification for new responses. Sometimes it is required when the participants are limited. I know that there are 50 persons who are going to respond or 20 persons who are going to respond. But if it's a registration form and there are thousands of people responding to this form, then getting an email notification will be a tedious one because for every response your inbox will be full of responses, right? So that is not a correct choice. This is a select response destination is very important, that you will be asked that where you want to save your response file and what should be the name of response file. So I will click here the select response destination. So it will ask me to select an existing spreadsheet. If I have an existing spreadsheet, I will select it. I will link that existing spreadsheet to my Google form, or otherwise I will create a new spreadsheet. So here I will select a new spreadsheet and I can change the name of the spreadsheet. So I don't want to change. I should be able to identify this is a response sheet for quiz for the ICT workshop. So I'll keep this name as it is and I'll say create a new spreadsheet and I'll click on create. So new spreadsheet will be created for a quiz for ICT workshop responses, right? So next is very important is here you can see there are various options available on the right hand top corner. One is this add-on option. This option is very important. I guess very few people use this response, but we will discuss this response in the next topic which is there as a small topic I have kept on this particular add-on option. Second is customized theme. Customized theme means, let's say if this is a registration form of your workshop and here you want to put the banner of your workshop, then in that case you can select this customized theme. In customized theme you can even set up the color or you can choose an image. Right? So you can choose an image. By default there are various themes are given by the Google itself, or instead of this you can upload your code. So you have to go to the upload option and you can upload here the file which you want to create as a theme for this. Right? I can select here, it's a quiz, so say insert, select and insert. So you can see here now I have the background available, image available. If you select the banner of your workshop, then here it will show the complete image of the banner. Right? So font style, even you can select different, there are restricted font style available, so you can select any one of this. But remember, if it's a quiz for the students, then don't go for more decorative one, because instead of decoration, it is very important for the students' point of view. They should read the questions properly and understand the question. So don't go for any kind of a font style or any kind of a theme color. If it's a question or if it's a quiz, okay. If it's a, let's say you are collecting some registrations for some cultural event or for some other events, then in that case you can use a different font style or attractive font style and the colors. So this is about the theme option. Second is preview. This option is important because when you set a question, you don't know how it is going to look on the end user screen or how this particular question form or the quiz is going to look onto the screen of the student. Okay, so always whenever you complete your quiz, go to this option preview so that you will have some glimpses that how my students are going to see this. So when I click on the preview, it will open a new window. This is not an editable form. This is how participants or how students are going to see this, right? So they are going to see this complete information to how the accounts, whether they from which they are attempting this quiz. They can see the first name, here the red color star marks there, that is the compulsory question, short answer, here the last name short answer. Now they can see here even the points allotted to the question. So in the Google Classroom, you can add multiple pictures, true or false, and they know that how many points are allocated these questions, right? So our format in date attending for this quiz is in this format. So you can see here, the format is not fixed. So month should be entered first, then date, and then year. Okay. Then this scale, single scale format, that is not see when you go to this way, it's a decreasing number. So 1 is not ID, 4 is going to be stronger, 20 is in decrease. So 10 below questions, that is how do you complete the task 1 of this particular session, or whether how the forms are free for the use to use or whether they are paid. Okay. So this is different types of the questions are available. So this is how your form will look like on the end user side. Next is the settings. The settings you should always check if you are setting the quiz or if you are setting the question paper. Now we'll see what is there in this. The very important. See, collect an email addresses. See what happens is you are worried about who is going to attend this quiz. So if I'm sending this quiz to XYZ students and I want that only the students will respond from their email ID or from their login. They should not respond from any other student's login. Okay, so you should see this collect option. Okay, so when you have the collect email addresses, then you will be able to see that the response which is collected in my response sheet, there will be one extra column will be added wherein there is an option that respondent email address, right? So you will be able to see that this particular response I have received from which email address. Okay. So that you can see. Now this is an optional response recipients. That means if you want to respond, then like say if generally what happens that these students attend the quiz and they complete the submission and they are worried about whether my response is recorded or not, whether my teacher has received my response or not. So you can have these options. The response recipient, if respondent requested, then only you responded, or whether always respond. That is important. When student asks to send me the response for this submission of the quiz, whether you receive it or not, then only you send the response, or always. Okay. So this is an option. So you can say always. So default message will go from the Google to all the respondent who submits this Google form that your response is recorded, or your quiz is recorded, or your answers are recorded. Okay. So such a response will be received at the user end. Okay. So otherwise, if you don't want it, we'll undo it. So these are the two options available. Requires signing. As I told you, some of the applications require some of the forms require the signing, some don't require it. So this is important that as I told you, when we have set up the question of file upload. So in file upload, it is by default required the end users to sign in to their users. So here I have an option as my Gmail is institutional login by using raisoni.net. So it has an option that restrict to the users in the Raisoni group of institutions and its trusted organization. So when I circulate this form to the students, and if this link of this Google form is been let's say sent to any other student who is not belonging to the Raisoni group of institution, then they will not be able to submit their response. They will not be able to record this response due to this restriction. Sometimes what happens that students forget their passwords for this institutional login and they have only used their personal Gmail. So in that case, you can remove these restrictions and you can ask any users from any Gmail account can respond to this form. So in your login, you can see the different options for this because if you are using a normal Gmail account, this option may not be there, right? Limit to one response. This is very, very important because what happens is if you don't take this option, then same person can attain this quiz as many times as they want. There is no option, unlimited times. 10 times, 100 times, many times they will attain the same quiz. Like say they attempt the quiz in first attempt and then they realize that, oh, I have clicked this option and that is wrong. I should have clicked another option. Then they will again attempt the quiz and submit another response. So that is a problem for the teacher to evaluate the response because same student has responded 2 times to this quiz and in both the times their answers are different. Then which score should be considered as a correct score? So in that case, we will limit one response. So the respondent or the student will be submit the quiz only once. Second time when they will try to use the link of the quiz, then their message will be displayed that your response is already recorded. Okay, your response is already recorded and now you cannot submit another response. Right? So this is important. If your form is about the quiz and about the exam, you should always limit one response to avoid the multiple responses. Now, this is again very important. Respondent can edit after the submission. If it's an examination, then we generally don't allow, once they submit their responses, we don't allow students to edit their answers. So, hence it is required to tick this option, that is untick this option, okay, untick this option, so that they will not be able to edit. But if this form is designed for registration, and you have asked users to enter their, let's say, enter their address, okay? And in that case, currently user has entered an address and then they realize that my address is wrong and I want to edit it. Then in that case, we will allow users to edit after the submission. If it is a registration form or if it is any another information collecting form. But if it is a quiz or if it is an examination form, then you should not allow users to respond to edit. Then this is summary and the text responses. So this you can always do for any kind of form, whether it's a quiz, whether it's an exam, whether it's a registration form or whether it's an event invitation form. So here the user can see the summary that how many questions I have already attempted, how many questions are left to attain, what is my response I have submitted for every question. That summary can be visible to the end user, right? Now maximum size of the files.
वो मैडम क्या कर रही है पता है? 4 लिंक से एक के टाइम पे लेक्चर दे रही है। 4 जीमेल के लिंक से, इसलिए थोड़ा सा इशू है।
See here, can you
वो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है सर, 4 लिंक को कनेक्ट करके एक ही जगह प्रेजेंटेशन दे।
In file of option we had the choice of 1 MB, 10 MB, 100 MB, 1 GB, 10 GB was the maximum. Okay, in the file. But in the setting, this maximum file upload is for the entire Google form. That means in a Google form, I may have 2 or 3 file upload questions. If I have 3 file upload questions, and for first file upload question, I have the size of 1 GB. In second file upload, I have restricted the size of 2 GB. In third question, I have uploaded the total file size of 1 GB. So in single response, how many data I am collecting? For first file upload 1 GB, second file upload 2 GB, third file upload 1 GB. That means 4 GB. 4 GB of the data I am collecting from single response. So this maximum size of the files uploaded, it is not a file, it is a files uploaded. So all the data which you are collecting through this Google format, what should be the maximum size? Okay? So let's say if you set the 10 GB. So whatever responses user is submitting to this Google format, all the responses, including the text, including the image, including the files. It should not go beyond this page. Okay? So the single user who is importing this form can upload or can separate information to Theng. So 10 GB is too much large, 1 GB is sufficient, I guess. So you can decide it based upon what type of questions you are asking, right? So this is about the general setting. Next is the presentation setting. So progress bar will show you the progress of the questions. So 10% completed, 20% completed, 50% completed, 40% completed, and so on. So you can set this show progress bar so that whoever is attempting my quiz can see their progress of attempting the quiz. Next is the shuffle or question order. This is required for the quizzes segment 1 analysis. They are asking the students to attend this quiz, and all the questions in the quiz are MCQ based. Okay? So if you are conducting the test which is MCQ based, then there are chances that in the online examinations, students can communicate with each other by using other devices, discussing questions. But if you set these questions to shuffle question order, then the students will waste time in searching for the question, because whatever question appearing for the first student, the first question which is appears on second student. The second student may get the 10th questions as a first question. So the questions will be shuffled and even the answers will be shuffled. So even though they are discussing what is first question, the first question will not be same for all the students. Okay? So you can have the maximum question, and if you shuffle the questions, then they will waste time in discussing and there will not be a fruitful outcome. So this is an option 7. Okay? Show link to submit another response. So as we have restricted one response, this is already disabled in our option. Okay, so in general setting, what we are doing, limit to one response, and that's why here show link to another response is disabled. अगर ये हमने अनटिक कर दिया, तो here you can see show link to submit another response. But we want to restrict to one response, and hence it will be disabled. Now confirmation message, if you want to have, let's say, we are sending response, recipient response. So you can say confirmation message. So your response has been recorded is a default message goes to all the participants or all the students. But instead of your response has been recorded, if you want to send your own message, then you can add your own customized message to you. Okay. So you can add the message that will be displayed on the user's screen once they submit the test. Then this is a restriction. Auto save for all respondents, or whether it's any kind of an information collection. So when you are attempting the quiz, the auto save should always be there. That means you don't have to ask user to save it manually. Whenever a person is responding to the question or whenever they are taking the quiz, the responses of the end user should be automatically recorded. So this should be unticked. If you take this, then they will have to manually save their responses. Okay? Now this is a very important section for those forms which are set for the quiz or the we can say examinations. So generally this is unticked. If you normally create a blank form,